Hello everyone, I think I have what should be a pretty short video. Basically, I realized that the rear sight on my A1 was rattling around, and so because of that, there was a little bit of flex back and forth, and that meant that I had a shifting 0 if I landed the rifle in the wrong spot. The problem is that this roll pin, which goes inside of here, right there, and through that hole right there. Let me put it in there and I'll show you. Right there. This hole is way too big, so if I hold it like this, I can shift that little roll pin around quite a bit. So that is the problem, and normally I prefer to switch the problem rather than the symptom, but in this case we are going to fix the symptom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a washer between this little drum right here and the side of the sight, and that will push the drum out far enough that hopefully it will hold it in place and the sight will not be able to slide back and forth. Now, whenever I need to solve a problem like this, what I do is I go to my local Ace hardware and I do what I can to measure the size of the piece I needed. So I put the drum in without the spring, and I found that this could just barely fit in. This is just a really cheap lockpick I have. And it could just barely fit in the space between the drum and the rear sight. So then that meant that I wanted a washer that was about this thickness or maybe just a little bit less. And so I went to my local Ace hardware and I just bought a whole bunch of various small washers to try and figure out what I could do to solve this problem. So I'm going to try these out, and whichever solution I decide, I'll come back in just a second and show you guys which one I picked. All right, so I got something in there and it is really tight. So let me show you what I did. By the way, the hole for this roll pin is really tiny. So I just took this really cheap screwdriver that was already stripped anyway, and I just filed it down a little bit, and that got it to the point that I could get it inside of that hole. I didn't have a punch that was small enough, so that works. Okay, let's pull this off. All right, so the one I ended up using was a bent spring I think it's called a spring washer, but it was bent a little bit. I just straightened it out. What I started with was I started just using pliers. And then after I got it somewhat straight with pliers, I just hit it with a hammer a few times and got it straight and got it a little bit thinner, and then I was able to get it on. So now let's put this back together. So we put the washer in there, we put the spring down in the hole, and then we put the detent down in the hole. And I'm expecting this to be a little bit of a challenge because there's going to be spring tension from that right there. Let's get the roll pin in here. So the way that I found it to be the easiest to do was to get it started with the pliers like that. Okay, so get it started. It's in there a little too far. If it's in there too far, what will happen is it will interfere with it so that it won't be able to go around the pin right here. Okay, so let me pull that out just a little bit. All right, so this is what you want. See, it is started, but it's not protruding into that hole yet. So then we are going to get it on here. Do need to rotate the sight just a little bit. All right, so with that all the way pressed in there, we're just going to grab the pliers, put it on either side of the roll pin and the drum, and then just squeeze. And it should go in precisely like that. Should need to rotate that just a little bit. Okay, right there. And now there is little to no flex back and forth. By the way, YouTube, this is a 20-round magazine. Because I had to spin the drum a few times in order for that to work, the 0 will have shifted, so I'll need to re-zero this when I go to the range. Now I should be able to press a cartridge in here to press that detent down, and then rotate it, and I can. So that means that this will work, and I'll be able to take this to the range and re-zero it. All right, I fixed the rear sight on my M16a1, and I lived on.
Which proves It's hard to get the best of a man named John. Hey, John.